Hi, and welcome back to Motion Recap. Today, we are going to explain a science fiction drama called Coma. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care.
We're introduced to a utopian city with white futuristic buildings and no inhabitants at the beginning of the film. However, the buildings quickly begin to deteriorate and turn black. The following scene depicts an apartment with a miniature model of the same city. An architect awakens next to it, unsure of his location. He examines a photograph of himself with a girl who has a distorted face. Suddenly, the apartment's contents begin to deteriorate. The architect exits the room, surprised by the darkening ceiling. Outside, there is a stranger who is also deteriorating. The befuddled man then runs outside the building and enters a strange world where buildings float in the sky and people vanish. He takes a look around the area and notices a monstrous creature that appears to be melting and regenerating. The creature attacks and knocks the architect to the ground. When he reopens his eyes, he is confronted by two individuals. The group seizes the architect and flees from the creature that is trailing them. They leap from building to building during the chase, defying the laws of physics. They even jump onto the road directly above them at one point, demonstrating that gravity does not exist in this new world. They enter a stall and find themselves in the city of Venice. The monstrous creature comes dangerously close to capturing them, but is shot by Phantom. However, the attack only slows the creature down temporarily as its body immediately reforms. The architect, befuddled beyond belief, follows the others. Finally, one of them, Pilot, jumps in to stall the creature, allowing the remaining three to flee at the cost of his own life. The architect interrogates them extensively about his whereabouts as they transport him to a safe zone. Fly reveals that he is in a coma and has entered a world where everyone who falls into a coma goes. Because the human brain stores memories in the same way that an electromagnetic field does, when someone enters a coma, the memories become reality. As a result, the location serves as a collective memory for everyone in the world who is in a coma. This explains the flying buildings and stalls that connect the world's continents. Still perplexed by what is happening, the architect inquires about the creature that attacked them earlier. According to Fly, the creature was a brain-dead individual. When a person dies in a coma, they transform into creatures known as Reapers, which have the ability to transform others into similar creatures. The architect is then brought to a halt, and the architect's head wounds are gradually healed. Finally, the trio makes their way to an abandoned old bus. They enter through one door and exit through another. Fly explains that this world is formed by the jumbled memories of people. Thus, when one person recalls the bus being on a field while another recalls it being near a building, they create a wormhole-like system similar to the one they just experienced. Phantom, Fly, and the architect come across a group of people who are enraged at them for allowing Pilot to die. Yan, the group's leader, informs everyone that it was worthwhile because they now have the architect. He requests that Fly show the visitor around and explain everything. He is escorted to his room by the girl, who explains why he was brought to the base. It turns out that their leader Yan once awoke from a coma and discovered how the coma world works. Because none of the characters remembers who they were in real life, they adopt fictitious identities such as the astronomer, the spirit, and so on. They live a happy existence in the new world, except when attacked by Reapers. Yan believes that there is an island without Reapers, and thus their group is constantly on the lookout for people who can assist them in reaching the island. For the same reason, the architect has been brought to the base. According to Yan, the architect could be critical in assisting them in establishing a colony on the aforementioned island. Fly departs, leaving him alone to rest. At night, the architect has a dream in which he drives to a religious location. He has hazy memories of fleeing the scene with a girl and getting into an accident. When the man regains consciousness, his room has been transformed into the location of the accident. The architect is mesmerized by the car and himself inside it, while the location he visited prior to the accident has also materialized in his dreams. Phantom enters the room at that precise moment, watching his dreams come to life. He takes a seat and warns the architect to avoid Fly. Additionally, he implies that he is the true leader and Yan is merely the group's brain. The architect is then taken outside for a test to determine his strength. Phantom explains that each member of the group possesses a unique ability that stems from something they excelled at in their previous lives. For instance, a girl named Spirit can sense when danger is approaching, Fly has the ability to heal people, and Phantom possesses unfathomable strength. To bring out the architect's strength, he should be confronted with danger, triggering his flight or fight response. Phantom instructs a man to shoot the architect for this purpose. The test begins with a shot to the architect's head. He is also attacked by a robot and severely beaten, but his powers remain dormant. Yan appoints him as a manual worker after he fails the test. Yan is informed a short time later that they are out of the explosive they used to fight the Reapers. As a result, Phantom and the other people end up at an explosives factory. The architect approaches them and invites them to join them on their mission. Phantom is adamant about not taking him, but agrees when Yan commands him to. They eventually arrive at the factory and encounter some guards. A befuddled architect is informed that because the guards were also imagined by the dreamer, they will protect the factory with their lives. The group then attacks the guards and makes its way to the location of the weapon. Two of them climb up the weapon to retrieve it, but immediately notice 3 Reapers approaching. Phantom directs those obtaining the weapon to continue while the remainder flee. When a crisis occurs, the architect's abilities come to life. He effortlessly constructs a bridge with his imagination. The person atop the weapon uses it to descend, and they flee safely. Everyone at the base commends the architect for his bravery. Yan is eager to embark on a journey with the architect to build an island as soon as possible. Phantom expresses surprise and wishes to discuss it with Yan first, but Yan dismisses him and appoints the astronomer as team leader. The astronomer can navigate the Coma world using maps. Phantom sarcastically requests that Yan tell the entire truth to the others, only to be dismissed. They intend to begin their journey to a safe location the next day. At night, the architect attempts to construct something similar to what he did during the mission, but is unable to concentrate. Fly approaches him and suggests that he visualize the blueprints for the structures he wishes to construct. As a result, the architect is able to construct a structure in a matter of seconds. They later find themselves in the astronomer's room, examining the crashed car. Fly inquires as to whether the girl in the car is someone he loves, to which the astronomer responds that he is unconcerned. He has begun to enjoy his new life in this world, where he has the freedom to build wherever he pleases. The two end up kissing as they converse, unaware that Phantom has been listening to their conversation the entire time. The group prepares for the journey the following morning. The astronomer creates a map of the safest route away from Reapers. However, before they depart, Phantom brings along a Reaper summoning whistle. They finally begin their journey, but are forced to come to a halt when Spirit detects Reapers approaching. Phantom suggests they split up and investigate their origins before reporting back. The architect moves in a certain direction, accompanied by the whistle planted on him by Phantom. He is immediately attacked by a Reaper, but is rescued by a man named Tank whom Yan requested help from. They rejoin the group when it is discovered that Phantom is behind the Reapers pursuing them. Phantom, seeing himself exposed, says something about Yan concealing the truth. Yan shoots him before he can explain himself, transforming him into a Reaper as well. They are quickly surrounded by numerous Reapers, who murder 2 of their teammates. Others manage to flee while still being pursued. They are on the verge of reaching the safe zone when the world around the architect begins to fade away and he begins to awaken from his coma. His eyes open wide in the real world, and all of a sudden, he recalls everything that occurred prior to the accident. To his surprise, the girl who was involved in the accident was Fly. Prior to the accident, she was transporting him to a client who was a religious leader with a large following. Fly was fearful for the architect's safety, as this was her typical client. As a result, she handed him a taser and waited outside the building while he entered for the meeting. Within, a man escorted him to the religious leader, who was revealed to be Yan. They then entered a room that was already occupied by several people on ventilators. The architect was assaulted as people attempted to sedate him, but he escaped using a taser. He exited the building and entered the car with Fly, but they were soon involved in an accident. Returning to the present, the architect awakens beside Yan in a hospital bed. He inquires as to Yan's true identity and discovers that he is a scientist. Yan had discovered life in Coma and desired to conduct experiments to make it a habitable world. As a result, he became a religious leader in order to finance his experiment. Yan recognized the architect's concepts and desired to implement them in the Coma world. That is why he put Fly and the architect, as well as Phantom and the others, into a coma. The architect retaliates, claiming that even if he creates the ideal world, he will force people to live in it. Yan responds by revealing Phantom's true form to him. He turns out to be disabled in real life, which explains why he relished being in a coma. As a result, Even after regaining complete memory in that world, Phantom never revealed it to anyone. Yan then requests that the architect relapse into a coma and assist him in constructing the city of his dreams. He agrees to spare everyone's lives in exchange, including Fly's. Accepting the offer, the architect recognizes that this is the only way to save everyone. Before relapsing into a coma, Yan reveals that there is a way to awaken from within the structure, but he will not show it to the architect until his job is complete. The architect reawakens in his apartment in the following scene. This time, however, he has the memory of how he got there. He constructs a bridge and runs to the location of the rest of the group. Instead of carrying out his instructions, the architect reveals that Yan has been deceiving them. Yan then arrives and coerces him into building the island exactly as he desires. The architect accomplishes his wish by erecting a magical utopia. He finally begs Yan to allow them to return to the real world. However, Yan decides to begin by informing them of how miserable their lives were prior to entering the coma. Spirit was committed to a mental institution. Tank was imprisoned for murdering his neighbors, and Astronomer was an autistic man with impoverished parents. Additionally, he declares the architect to be the worst of them all, owing to his career's colossal failure. Fly begins to regain her memory as well after hearing this. Spirit, Tank, and the Astronomer decide to remain in the utopia, but Yan reveals that he cannot allow them to do so because they are aware of the truth. Before the group can act, the members of the real world infuse them with cerebral hypoxia, rendering them brain dead. Tank perishes instantly, while the others seek a way to re-enter the real world. They recall Yan warning them repeatedly not to look into their materialized dreams. Thus, a way out could be hidden in one of those dreams. The group flees to the base, but Spirit vanishes before they can reach it. The others enter the architect's room and proceed to the building from which he was abducted. They seek a way back into the room only to discover that it has been completely transformed by the fusion of people's dreams. On the way, the Astronomer vanishes, leaving the architect and Fly alone. The architect immediately notices they are in a painting he saw in the room where he was abducted. Yan, however, appears in front of them and prevents them from entering the painting. He is about to assassinate the two when they are saved at the last moment by a Reaper. The Reaper is revealed to be Phantom, who assassinates Yan and allows the two to enter the real world via the painting. Following that, both Fly and the architect revert to their normal selves. They exit the building without being stopped by Yan's assistant. After that, the scene shifts to a few weeks later. The architect has begun to work according to his client's specifications and has ceased to innovate on his own. He and Fly are in a happy relationship. Yan's religious cult, on the other hand, continues to thrive even after his death. The architect receives another letter from the group and keeps it safe, indicating that he may be on the verge of another trip to the Coma world.
Thank you for tuning into Motion Recap. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Till then, peace